Hey everybody, how's it going? You're going to see my new Zoom setup today. I'm hoping it wasn't hard to do. It seems like it's working and it didn't seem too complicated. I was a little intimidating at first. So you're kind of the guinea pigs, but we're going to talk today about something I've actually been wanting to talk about for a while, which is the Guitar Center website. So when Guitar Center, let's open this up a little bit. So when Guitar Center went bankrupt last year, there were a lot of people saying that among the many problems Guitar Center had was its horrible website. I mean, I just saw so many videos that everybody said how horrible the website was. And I've actually been a Guitar Center customer for like 20 years that I've been keeping track of. And before that, I actually bought a lot of things from Musician's Friend, picks and strings and things, so and many other things. So I guess even longer than that. So I've always liked Guitar Center, but I thought we'd check out their website a little bit because that seemed to be criticism. And so much music today and music shopping is done online. So I guess the website is important, and I'm sure they think it's important. So when all those people were on YouTube all over the place saying how horrible their website was, maybe they fixed it since then. I don't know. It doesn't look too bad to me. But we're going to look at it and compare it a little bit with the Sweetwater website. Doesn't look too different from the get-go. So let's start by looking at the Guitar Center website here. We've got it on the screen. And it looks pretty good to me. I mean, I don't see, like I said, the criticism of Guitar Center's website, I heard so much of it last year. Was that about November when they declared bankruptcy? A little less than a year ago, going on right about a year. And just everybody said their website was terrible. So it's very possible that when they got their finances straight, since then they fixed it. It doesn't look that different, but sometimes the fixing, they might have kind of kept the look almost becomes a part of their brand and what people are used to. So they don't want to overhaul it so you don't even recognize it. But maybe they fixed some of the criticisms people had before. I think it looks pretty good. I mean, it says Guitar Center up here. You click on Guitar Center and it goes to Guitar Center. You've got you've got the departments there. It never fails. You've got ads, right? Enter the giveaway, 48th month financing, top sellers. I'm not seeing anything really wrong with this website. The one main thing I see wrong with it is they need to have some free guitars on here to just give away to customers for free. That would be great, wouldn't it? But really, looks pretty good to me. Lessons, repairs, rentals, professional, latest posts. Let's try a post. Riffs. I don't really know what that is, but I guess these would be kind of like little, almost like little journalism pieces that kind of are about the music scene. That's great. You know, I think Guitar Center, when I first started going there about 20 years ago, they had, right when you came in their parking lot, they had big pictures of Duane Allman and I don't know, I think Carlos Santana, but who did they have? But they had like Jeff Beck, I know, big pictures. You could see them from the street when you were pulling into the parking lot. And it was very set up for, they used to have a King of the Blues contest. I was actually in that a couple of times. Thought I held my own, didn't win. One of the judges came up and said I was bluesgrass because she could tell I had played country and bluegrass. And she thought she complimented my picking quite a lot and then said, but I was tossing in some bluegrass licks. So, okay, that's fine. That's probably good constructive criticism. But anyway, they used to do a lot of stuff like that. So I do think it's good to see that they've got some kind of journalism. They've got almost like a little magazine, I still get hard copy magazines. I get Acoustic Guitar magazine, but I never read them anymore. And most of it's online, sad to say. So it is good that they've almost got kind of like their own little magazine down here. And I think that's good. View all. Yeah. Of course, a lot, you know, a lot of their articles and so on, probably a fair amount of them have to do directly or indirectly with stuff you can also turn around and buy. But that's okay. You know, how's that different than, you know, the Guitar Player magazine I used to read in the 70s? It was full of ads. So I think it looks pretty good. So we're going to give the Guitar Center layout, I don't know, I'll give it a 10. I mean, I don't know, it looks fine to me. Some of you might be more savvy about the internet, but I think it looks fine. Now let's try the Sweetwater one. Also looks fine. I actually don't think it's as colorful. It looks kind of it's too looks too much like an Office, like Microsoft Office or something. Just I actually think the Guitar Center one's got more eye candy a little bit. It's got more pictures. This one looks a little bit too much like you know, plain vanilla Office setting, but it looks fine. I'm not gonna, besides, who cares how it looks, right? But that was one of the categories. Yeah, I actually think the Guitar Center one kind of grabs you in a little bit more, but also great. Go down here, it's got, you know, you start in. Here's another thing, you have to scroll through a bunch of inventory items, and then you have next. So you have seemed like the Guitar Center website didn't do that. I don't think they had a lot of inventory items. They have top sellers, but it's not as intrusive. You can kind of scroll horizontally, but it's not as intrusive. And you go down here and it's more stuff to kind of click on. And here's another best sellers, but it's not as intrusive. It's a line of things. So actually, and these look kind of interesting. So you've got sort of large categories of things that are there. But I think that's a knock against this Sweetwater. You've got all that. Who wants to look through all that kind of random inventory? I'm not interested in a Boss Katana amp. I mean, if they had kind of a line of their top sellers or something, the way Guitar Center does, but it just seems like this kind of random list of mics and everything under the sun. So I think they should have done it like Guitar Center did it. Actually, and then if there's any information at the bottom of the page, you kind of have to scroll way down. So, and they do have some gifts by category. And I also it doesn't look like they have the kind of journalism or articles and things that help you. Maybe they do. Do they have like lessons and articles on, you know, I don't know, interviews with artists? And I'm sure they do somewhere on here, but it's not, doesn't seem to be hitting me in the face. That's another knock. I think that's nice that Guitar Center has you know, articles. Let's look over here again. Guitar Center has right down here, and it's pretty prominent, you know, at least some articles. Ultimate Guide to Stage Monitoring. That's good stuff. You know, that's good. You know, how to get a good sound. Interview with Joan Jett. I love rock. I used to play that in a band years ago. Actually, it was pretty good guitar rock. I was singing that the other day. I miss guitar rock. The history of the chorus pedal. I'm not seeing anything like that on the Sweetwater website. I think that's cool. You know what? That actually reminds me that the one thing I think Guitar Center needs is a YouTube presence. You know, Sweetwater and Reverb, every time I Google a pedal or a new guitar or anything, there's some guy from Sweetwater, many, they're great. I mean, they're always great players, really, you know, good to listen to and likable and all that. But they give a demo, which is kind of on behalf of Sweetwater, which is fine. You know, I guess you could say it's an ad, but I think that's great. And I was actually just thinking that recently, the Guitar Center needs something like that, because I don't ever see like Guitar Center YouTube channel that, you know, highlights some new pedal or new guitar or something like that. And I think Sweetwater does. Having said that, I think on the website, it's more like a musician's site. You know, it's not just selling you something. There are some things to read about, the best bass pedals. So it's try to foster community. I think Sweetwater definitely, you know what, that should be a category, isn't it? But Sweetwater definitely has a good community on YouTube. But I think the Guitar Center website seems a little bit more community based. I'm going to give Sweetwater aesthetics and all those things I just talked about. I'm going to give them an 8. I actually think Guitar Center's website looks better. Now, but I guess aesthetics don't matter too much. I actually think the community thing, I might add another category. Sorry to create things on the fly. Community. Guitar Center 10, Sweetwater 8. And aesthetics, I'm going to say Guitar Center 10, and I'm going to say Sweetwater 8, because Sweetwater, it kind of looks like I don't know, notebook paper or something, kind of a like some sort of an office setting, Office Depot or something. And I think Guitar Center, it feels more like a community. You know, there's a little more color on it. I think it looks like a better website to me. So hats off to Guitar Center. Now the second category was clunky, which is a category just means when you click on something, is it a bunch of here's news and research. Now there's news and research on the Sweetwater website, but I didn't think it was prominent. It's too bad they don't have it on their website. See, now I'm seeing it. But I guess the fact that I missed it right off the bat, it was a little bit more prominently featured on the Guitar Center website. They definitely, Sweetwater definitely, I watch a lot of their videos, and they always have really likable people, knowledgeable people, and you know, good media savvy people. But I didn't catch that right away. I guess you could say that I'm an airhead and I missed it, which might well be the case. But on the other hand, I did I'm looking at both these websites cold, and I did come across those right away down here, these latest posts from Riff, and I missed them on the Sweetwater website. But let's go to the category I'm calling clunky, for lack of a better term. I think they both look pretty good here. So that means like when you click on something, the stuff load up. You have a bunch of clickbait. You know, you ever go on like a sports website or a stock market website or entertainment website where there's just a ton of clickbait, all kinds of ads, and the page jumps all over. Every time you put your mouse on something, the page jumps. Usually that's, in my experience, that's been because it's so loaded with clickbait, often ads. And the page, a lot of times when you're like that, the page itself that you want to look at takes forever to load. But if, God forbid, you should actually accidentally even touch one of those clickbaits with your cursor, it'll just fly off and, you know, onto some new website trying to sell you something, if not try to flat out rip you off nowadays. So I'm going to say they both look fine. I'm not really seeing anything like, you know, really long loading times. Let's try that. Okay, that was let's go to the home page. Pretty good. Now let's try to go to Guitar Center. We'll go to guitars and we'll go back to home page. You know what, I would say I think Guitar Center fixed it. Let's go to just something in categories. Now let's go back to home. Okay, that took a little minute to load. Look at that. It's taking a little longer to load, I would say. All right, let's go to Squire Classic Vibe. I need to try a Squire. You know, I don't think I've ever played a Squire. You know what? I'm thinking Guitar Center's website looks like it's a little more updated with its software or something. To me, it seems like it's loading faster. I don't have some kind of a fancy clock to time it, but I'm going to say it looks like. Let's go to the used. See all used gear. All right. Let's go back to the Guitar Center homepage. 1, 2, 3, click. Pow, we're there. That was pretty good. Let's try this one. Let's go to audio interfaces. All right, now we're going to go back to the Sweetwater homepage. 1, 2, 3, click. It's not a big deal. I mean, if that extra half a second keeps you from buying a guitar from Sweetwater, that's your problem, not theirs. But I think Guitar Center looks like it's a little more liquid, as they used to say. I'm going to give Guitar Center, I don't know, let's say it's a 9 because it's a damn computer, and no computer is a 10 ever. And then we'll give Sweetwater an 8.5. I don't know. That seems pretty fair. No, I'm not going to give any computer a 10 on anything that has to do with ease of use of technology. I don't care what it is. It's not getting a 10 from me. But really, I thought the Guitar Center one looked like it was, when you click something, it popped right up. And that Sweetwater is still pretty good, but it had that little lag. All right, now here's where the rubber meets the road. Let's go to layout. Let's go back to Guitar Center. And I'm pretty familiar with the Guitar Center website. I bought, stuff off the Guitar Center website forever. So I guess this might be the most important category of all. But let's look at it right here. And the other thing I wanted to say is I'm pretty familiar with the Guitar Center website layout in terms of shopping. At least, the guitars and pedals and things like that, accessories, I can usually find I'm really familiar with it. I am not as familiar with the Sweetwater website. But let's do this. Let's go to guitars. So you got departments up here, used. Let me tell you something right now. One category where Guitar Center blows everybody else away is used. There's no doubt about it. They've got the best used inventory. And plus, you can get stuff shipped through Guitar Center from anywhere in the country, even Hawaii and Alaska, I think, right? They've got stores. And if you get it and there's a problem with it, you can walk into your local Guitar Center and have the issue addressed. You try to do that with any other of these online companies. Guitar Center has a good online presence. My hair is messed up. But they're also, they've also got showrooms all over the country. So anyway, let's go to guitars first. We'll start with new guitars, electric, and of course, what should we go with? I guess we better go with Fender, huh? Okay, let's try that again. I think I missed that. So we're going to go to guitars. And they've got the old, sometimes I'm not that good with the mouse. We'll go to guitars, then Fender. Pop. My mouse hand, I need a bigger mouse space with my right hand. Looks fine. I should not have looked at this because, how are those American Professional 2s? I love the 1, and I thought it was kind of too bad when they dropped the 1 for the 2. And the 2 was kind of juiced up with some of those push-pull pots and everything. But on the other hand, I think they changed the VMod 1 pickups were so good. And I heard kind of mixed reviews on the VMod 2s. Gentle, but mixed reviews. And also, as cool as pine is, I don't think I've ever had an electric guitar made out of pine. I do think that's kind of a roundabout way of saying you might not be seeing as much ash and swamp ash, and alder on their guitars in that price point. But anyway, I think it looks pretty good. So if we wanted to go to acoustic guitars, we hit that. That was a little clunky loading, wasn't it? Clunky is actually one of the important categories here. Let's click on one. Now, this was actually a point I was going to make a little later. I thought about making this point, and I was going to put it in another point in this little video. But one thing I do think is significant. Look at that. You get a nice magnifying glass, which is, I think par for the course. But I'm pretty sure that's the generic Fender picture of this guitar, I think. Whereas I think in Sweetwater, one significant difference, I don't know if it matters that much to me, but one significant difference is, let's look at this. See, look how clunky that is. It might be how I'm hitting it with my mouse, and it might be my computer, but the Guitar Center website seemed to load up. Look at that. That Guitar Center website loads up better than Sweetwater. But one significant difference is, I think when you look at a lot of these pictures, I think especially when you see that white bricks, that is that specific guitar, and Sweetwater took that picture, I'm pretty sure. I bought a Telecaster from Sweetwater last year. It's the one I use for slide. It's if you look at that, a couple of the slide guitar videos I've done, I bought that from Sweetwater. It's that 2-color sunburst Tele. And he told me that every single picture on their website is the specific guitar. Now, but I'm wondering about that. That looks kind of like a manufacturer's picture, like you might see like on the PRS website. But I don't know that. But I'm pretty sure when you see look, their website is noticeably clunkier. Noticeably. Look at these. These are taking longer. I mean, it loads. $2,700 for a Strat that doesn't say Fender on it. Can't do it. If I wanted to buy a Strat and it was $3,000, it would say Fender on it. That's just me. And you know, if I didn't want a Fender Strat and I had $3,000, I'd buy another guitar that wasn't a Strat. But anyway, I'm sure it's a kick butt guitar, I have no doubt. This website is easier, but I think when you look at the guitars here, look, you've got some clickbait. Oh, and it's my picture is getting in the way there. Let's click that off. But let's look at a Fender here. I'm pretty sure that these are all just manufacturer's pictures. That's just a generic player Telecaster, I think. I mean, I think if you ordered that right now, you would not be getting that specific guitar. Whereas in Sweetwater, I'm pretty sure when it shows that brick behind it, if you buy this guitar, you are getting that guitar in the picture. But I'm wondering if that's going to be the case on some of these, that it looks like some of these are more look like kind of stock manufacturing pictures like you might see on Amazon, which is fine. If you go to the Fender website, you can buy stuff directly from the Fender website, and you're going to see manufacturing pictures. You know, this is a American Performer Strat. You know, and you can kind of click on the different colors. So, but I think to the extent that Sweetwater does have pictures of the specific guitar, that's it. You know, another thing I don't like about Sweetwater, sorry, guitars should be at the top. Can I move that maybe? I can't. So guitars should be at the top of that bad boy. Look, Guitar Center, go to departments. It starts with guitar. And when you go with guitar, it starts with the electric guitar. And then when you go to electric guitar, it starts with Fender, and all is well in the world. You start with the guitar, then you go to electric guitar, then you go to Fender. Here, guitars are kind of mixed down. And you know what? You can't plug in the different companies. I'm telling you, I think the Guitar Center, and this is not loading again. Look. So I do think the one thing I think, to the extent when you see all these pictures where there's white brick there, I'm pretty sure that's the guitar you are buying. And it doesn't look like that's a Squire, that's a manufacturer's picture. But I'm pretty sure when you see that white brick behind the guitar, that's a Sweetwater photo of the specific guitar that you would be buying. I'm pretty sure. I'll stand corrected. That's what the guy told me on the phone. So that's sort of a big deal. Although really, it sounds good to say that, but if you think about it, how does that really help you? How does a picture of the guitar at Sweetwater, you know, why is that necessarily more helpful than just the manufacturer's picture of a guitar? I guess because we're presuming there's nothing wrong with the guitar that's noticeable in a picture. So I'm going to give the Guitar Center website, I'm going to give it, I thought it was fine. I'm going to give it a 9.5, and I'm going to give the Sweetwater an 8.5. I don't know. They both look fine, but I actually think the guitar, maybe, like I said, take it for what you will. I think the way this is set up. But let's look at a couple other things before we move on to the last category. Let's go back to guitars, and let's just go. Let's go here. Oh, my mouse is. I need a better desk. My mouse. We're gonna go to. See, my hand's not. I don't have enough space to work this mouse. What? Now here's another thing that I like. Let's go to electric guitars. Now what also is nice is you can kind of hone down. So this is another important thing. So you can go new or used. So they've got 220 new Fender guitars in their inventory. 220 solid body Fender guitars in their inventory. 447 used. Let me tell you something. That's the best used market in town. And used guitars are the best bang for your buck. And they're smart to buy a used guitar. Oh, please don't let me see a Highway 1 Strat on here. Please, God, don't have there be one in good shape. If I see one of those first half of the iterations of the Highway 1 Strat, it's not really expensive. The acrylic, Chris Buck has one actually. It's a 2002 to 2006. Mine is the 2006 to 2011 Highway 1. And I didn't know what acrylic lacquer was, but somebody said that's actually a pretty cool finish. Somebody called it a experimental. I actually bought a harpsichord harp. It's a flat sharp, and I'm getting it before Christmas. It took a while to get it, and they told me that had an acrylic lacquer finish. I asked the person about the finish. Look at that used guitar market. Now here you have, okay, here's another thing. Here you do have pictures of the guitars. So you've got pictures of the guitars, and look, that one's taking a little, it's a little clunkier here. We're getting the clunky factor. Look at that. Might be my computer. You know, I hate that you can't judge too much by that. Same with Sweetwater. That one is not loading up. You know, my internet sometimes isn't that good. Forgive me. Sorry, Mom. That one's not loading up. I wonder if it's my internet. No, I think that's a Guitar Center issue. It's not. Let's try another one. But the photos of the used ones aren't as nice. So that's the photo. And well, that's the other thing. See, I clicked on each Guitar Center outlet has its own website. I'm sure some part of their store is hooked up to this big Guitar Center website. So this store is in Bridgeton. Where is Bridgeton? I don't even know, but that's a Highway 1. Well, maybe not. It might be a standard. But if it's a 60th anniversary, it's got the button on it. It's got a button on it. Let's see. I'm pretty sure it's got a button. No? It's got something on there. It says commemorative. 60th anniversary. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to have a button or some kind of a, you know what? That's a screw up. Let's see. Oh, here we go. There we go. The plate, that's commemorative. I was going to say, I, I don't think that plate's that big a deal. They just put them on every guitar that year, I think, in the American factory. But it is still something you want, and they should put a picture of it on there. And it is kind of cool. I do think it adds to the value of the guitar. But the photos are all right. I think one issue with their photos in the used market, I think that was one area where a lot of that, but see, they've got how many people taking photos? Every store does their own photos. So they might have some 19-year-old kid in Boise, Idaho that takes a lousy photo, but then the store and somebody else takes a good photo. And it's kind of more decentralized. This one's not used Eric Clapton signature. Oh my gosh, how much is that? Is that a good guitar, by the way? Of course, I'm a huge Clapton fan. Is that the guy? It doesn't have the big headstock. Does it have a nitro finish? The one thing that I'm not big on signature guitars, and in general, if I got one, I'd probably be a Clapton signature guitar by the artist. He's deaf. But I always heard it had a boost that sounded actually pretty cool, except it needs a battery, and I don't want to mess with the battery. But okay, if you look at the photography in the used market, maybe you could mark them down. But you know what? I'm not marking them down for that, because that's a hell of a used market, and it's all over the country. All these used guitars in one place on a website. Yeah, it's uneven. Probably some stores, some, somebody that probably take these with their iPhones, on their lunch break or something. But that's a hell of a used market. Let's check out the Sweetwater used market. Go to guitars, electric guitars. That website's clunky. I am sorry. It just is. Okay. Now let's go to used. Let's go to solid body guitars. Okay, let's go to Fender. Some of that might, in my mouse hand, I don't have enough room. I need a bigger desk if I'm going to do this from the future. I've got a drunken mouse. I used to have there was a guy, IT guy at work I really liked. And he's talking about, look at that. I'm clicking it and it's not hitting. Well, whatever. Let's go down here. You got financing. Used, okay. I'm faulting it here. Okay, it finally came up. There, the Fender came. But look how long that took to come up, everybody. I forgot I clicked it. So might be my computer, but the guitar and the used thing, I think is going to be bigger. Now here you do have, well, this isn't used yet. That's just Fender. But let's go to, so it took all that while to load up the Fender guitars. Now this is helpful here where you've got top material, body finish. I don't think Guitar Center has a finish category in their sort of, let's get off the used. They've got color, performance level, model, series. I don't see finish. You know what? I've become kind of sensitive to finish in my old age. If I buy a nice guitar these days, which I really don't need to do, it's going to have a lacquer finish. Sorry. But so they do have finish on there. Let's go to a lacquer. See how long it takes to load. They've got some. But let's see. I think what this prompted this originally was, do they have used? See, I'm not even seeing. Does it say used? Remove all filters. Let's just go to the Sweetwater used. Oh, wait. I'm not, if it's on there, it's not as evident. Look with Guitar Center. Let's clear it. That's right up there front. Do you want a new guitar or a used guitar? And they've got 450 freaking used guitars. They've got, twice as many used guitars as new guitars. Now you go over here to Sweetwater. and they've got in stock and pre-order. So now look, they've got 670. Is that my eyes aren't that good? 674 guitars in stock. Is that Fenders? No, that's just everything. So I'm still on Fender here. I was gonna say, how many guitars in stock do they have? 2,000 guitars in stock at Guitar Center compared to 674. I don't know. Maybe, you know what? I might be doing this wrong. Is that electric? We want to go to electric guitars, right? Yeah, they've got 2,745 electric guitars in stock that are new, 3,723 used guitars. I don't know. These people that prefer Sweetwater over Guitar Center, I just can't see it, because that used market, the Guitar Center is the place to buy a used guitar. Zero doubt about it. Look at that. And so, and I'm not seeing anywhere on this Sweetwater website. Like I said, if it's there, I'm missing it. Now, you could say I'm an idiot, but then again, I'm a customer. Maybe I'm an idiot that has money in my pocket and I want to buy a guitar. And here I am with my computer illiteracy looking for somewhere that says used, and I'm not seeing it. So even if I'm an idiot, I'm not an idiot. They're the idiots for not having it prominently featured. That, or maybe their used market isn't significant enough to highlight on their website, whereas Guitar Center, no, that there's no question. Look at that used market, 3,723 guitars. Let's go here to high, go from high to low price. By the way, you want a nice vintage instrument? Yeah, you can go to like Norm's Rare Guitars, and that would probably be smart to do, because, you know, talk to some of those people that are so knowledgeable and stand by their work. But a lot of these nice guitars come through Guitar Center. Look at that. You can buy a $46,000 Stevie Ray Vaughan #1. I'm not sure about that one, but look, you've got a vintage Gibson 64 Firebird right there on the Guitar Center website. I'm pretty sure Sweetwater doesn't have that. 64 Gibson Firebird. That's the real deal. Yeah. I mean, you got an extra 31 grand laying around, 32. Oh, excuse me, not 32,000. It's only $31,999.99. Thank God it wasn't $32,000. That would have been too much. But you know, they came in $31,999.99. So they're saving you a penny there, which is of course a good thing. A penny saved is a penny earned. That's Benjamin Franklin, or the Book of Proverbs, or Mark Twain, or Yogi Berra. It's actually Benjamin Franklin. All those common sense tidbits of wisdom that are so precious. All right, I'll tell you what. The Guitar Center website used. Look, here we go. Custom shop. So you got some custom shop fancy jobs. A vintage 66 Strat, 61 to 65 Strat. Now, one thing that might be true about their used market, I've really never, I've had some in my hands. I'm old enough to remember when people just played these guitars, like, you know, the kid down the street would have a 60 something or another Fender, and this would be in the mid 70s, so it wasn't all that big a deal. So I've definitely played some old guitars back when they weren't so old, but I've never really been into the vintage market. I'd be a little worried. I feel like a lot of people, if they've got a guitar that's worth much over $10,000, they might try to sell it privately, or by putting their own ad in it or something. Then again, you might have a lot of people that just, because that's what I would do. I mean, I might take a guitar into Guitar Center for trade-in, because I think they usually give you about 60%. Whatever they're going to sell it for, they'll give you 60% of that, which is fair. I mean, you could feel like, well, I could have got more, but well, you didn't, did you? I mean, they handled the transaction. They're going to sit on it while it sells. So 60% of the final selling price is definitely fair. But I've taken in used guitars for trade-offs before. The one thing I will say though is, you know, a lot of times I don't know if I had like a really nice guitar that was worth, you know, $20,000 or something. I feel like I'd want to try to sell it somehow to guitars, you know, to like privately. Because what's 60% of $20,000? I don't know, whatever. So but that used market, look, Gibson. I'm telling you, all these people that say Guitar Center stinks or whatever, the reason that used market is so good is because anyone can, you can walk into Guitar Center and they'll buy it, and it's not like walking into a pawn shop. I saw somebody said it was like a pawn shop. Not really, because it's a national chain. So you walk in there. If you've got a guitar that's any good at all, they'll probably buy it, unless they really don't think they can sell it. Look at the lowest price. They're used, a $59 Spencer double cut. So, you know, they've got some low price ones too, but they've got so many used, and that's because they're decentralized like that. And you can walk in, people can walk into Guitar Centers all over the country, sell their stuff, and get a good, you know, a fair price. It's like anything. It's like you ever watch that show Pawn Stars, and people are always saying, well, I could get more. And that Rick, he's always polite, but you can kind of feel like him saying, if you can get more, go for it. But I'm going to buy this, and I'll probably have to sit on it a year till it sells. You know, I have to take care of it. I might have to clean it up, change some things on it to make it saleable for what you think it's worth. And that's kind of like Guitar Center. But they look at all those guitars they buy. Let's go to used Gibsons just for fun. Best match. Let's go to high-low. Used Gibson guitars. There's that Firebird. Let's try going to and look, you can click in condition. Let's clear the brand. Let's go to Gretsch. You know, I've always wanted to play Gretsch because George Harrison and Chet Atkins, and I guess at this point I would not buy a non-American Gretsch. In fact, I wouldn't buy I buy a Japanese Fender. You see my video. I love Japanese Fenders, but that's a little different. They make for an Asian market. They're not just moving a company out of the U.S. just to save a buck, which is clearly what Fender Mexico is. That's like what, an hour's drive from the U.S. border. That's kind of like Wolfman Jack. You know, they had that back in the radio days. They had that huge radio tower right across the Mexican border. Wolfman Jack, it was against FCC regulations because he had about 50 times too much power coming out of that radio tower. They say it killed birds that would fly by the radio tower. But they were like 2 miles over the border. Just clearly they went across the border to flout law. That's what Fender Mexico is. So, but look at those Gretsch guitars. Let's go to high to low. $12,000 vintage Gretsch. I'm telling you, the used market is where it's at in guitars, and I'm not if they've got it on here for Sweetwater, I'm not seeing it. So now Reverb, let's go to Reverb. So deals, you know what, if they, I'm not saying they don't have any used guitars, so please don't, but it sure doesn't seem like when you go to Guitar Center's website, you go right to Guitar Center, departments used, that's prominent. You want to use guitar, for that matter, used amps, drums, all this other stuff, but guitars used. Let's go to Reverb. Let's see. I would think that the Reverb, even, I bet you Guitar Center even rivals eBay or Reverb. I don't ever use Reverb. See, I don't like to buy stuff from people I don't know. I mean, I'll buy like old books or records or something off eBay. But I don't like to buy like something nice off eBay, like a guitar. But let's go to guitar. Let's go to guitar. I'm not seeing, you know what? I'm not familiar enough with the Reverb site. They do have used guitars, right? I mean, used solid body electric guitars, yeah, shop all used. So they've got a pretty good used. So they've got a lot. You know what? It says 37,880. I don't know if that means they've got, but I don't think Reverb's kind of just a website, right? I don't know enough about Reverb to comment, so looks like Reverb's pretty good. But Guitar Center is a store. It's not a website, it's a store. And they've got stores all over the country. And, you know, they have good new guitars. They can pretty much get all the main new guitars with the same prices and everything. And if you want to set up, they're right in the city there where you are. Plus, there is no way any store can beat that used market that Guitar Center has. Give me a break. If you want to buy a used guitar, other than looking around privately or maybe, you know, some of the boutique companies, I'm sure that's like, if I had a vintage guitar that was worth a ton, I might try to take it to one of those Norm's Guitars or places that really specialize in vintage instruments, and not go to Guitar Center as much as I've shopped at Guitar Center. But if I were trying to, if I had like a guitar that was worth $30,000, I probably would take it to one of these more boutique-y type guitar places. But not necessarily. I mean, I think Guitar Center would probably do me right. So, but that said, a lot of these boutique places, they might have some pretty good vintage guitars. I bet they might have some really, you know, gems. But just a good average, straightforward purchase of a good used guitar seems like at all levels, you can't beat Guitar Center. Give me a break. And we need to keep Guitar Center going, because I think it's really it provides something. It's like a lot of things in 2021, crap we dump on all the time is the stuff we take for granted, and if it weren't there, we'd miss it bad. And you know, Guitar Center's, they've got a good inventory, and that used market is to die for. So I just wanted to share that, and I think it looks like a good used guitar market, and that's the one thing. And if I were Guitar Center, I'm sure they're waiting on the edge of their chairs to hear what I think. Although actually, Bain Capital, some of those people, they should listen to people like us more, shouldn't they? But you know, to me, that's something they should really highlight, is that used market, because Sweetwater, a lot of these companies, they can't compete with that used market Guitar Center has. And it's because Guitar Center is so distributed all over the country. You can't go sell it. You know, I couldn't go sell a guitar at Sweetwater if I wanted to without mailing it to them or something. there are 5 guitar centers in my city, you know, and that's why their used inventory is so good. And yeah, I think you can get some like the like if you had a real gem of a guitar, you know, played by a star or some really primo old Fender or something that was in perfect shape, you know, and played great and all that. Yeah, maybe you'd want to take it to one of these boutique dealers. Maybe, but you might even have to take an airplane or something to do it or ship it to them. Whereas Guitar Center, their used markets for real, you know, and they're legitimate and they've got a pretty damn good used market, and that's their biggest asset, in my opinion. Not to mention that they have a good overall website, I think. So I'm hoping they do well. I don't know if I'm going to buy an IPO share. I haven't heard enough about it. Don't think it can't go down. That's one thing I learned, or I've heard, is just because it goes low, don't think it can't go lower. But anyway, you know, I was kind of perusing these websites, and I said, man, that and some of these other websites. Let's try a couple others. Let's try because I know there are places around that have like really specialized vintage instruments or really kind of cool, like that Wildwood Guitars. They've got a whole line of thin nitro guitars that I don't think you can get anywhere else. Stuff like that is obviously cool. Then again, you know, a lot of times they're 8 states away or whatever. So I think for the straightforward purchaser of a good quality guitar, you can't go wrong with Guitar Center. They've got pretty much all the main new guitars. What brand was it that they don't sell at Guitar Center? I know there are a couple pedals they don't sell now that they used to. There was one, it wasn't Godin, but you know, fairly good. The couple fairly good companies don't sell at Guitar Center. But I'll tell you what they do have. They have Fender, Martin, they have PRS, they have Gibson, they have Taylor, they have Gretsch, they have D'Angelico, and they, you know, a lot, and they also have the best mainstream used market. So I just thought I'd share that. Also, by the way, this is my first experience with Zoom. So if I look like a total goof, which is very possible, please forgive me. It's kind of weird talking into a computer screen. Kind of addictive. Thank you. God bless you. Please consider subscribing. I was looking at some of my analytics. I've had 80,000 views on my channel this year. I consider that a lot for me. 80,000 views and 4,850 hours of views. So, I mean, but I you know, a lot of those views were from non-subscribers. So I am hoping for more subscribers. I don't know why. I just think my channel would do better. I'm not worried about, I'm not trying to get monetized, but I think my channel would get out there more. And if the community of subscribers were a little bigger. But anyway, I have 4,850 views in the last 365 days, and 80,000, or I have 4,850 hours of view time, and I have 80,000 views, and I've got like right around 600 subscribers. So I feel like it's going pretty well, but you know, sometimes I wonder how much longer I'll do this actually. You know, if work heats up. But then again, I'm never going to stop. It's been such an outlet to play. I played in little bars and restaurants for so many years, and I've actually had some pretty good gigs that, you know, that I would say are pretty, you know, kind of nice gigs. I played with some great players, but especially the last few years, I was playing little bars, pizza joints, and I always felt like, man, if the weekend comes and I'm not playing at least once, if not twice, you know, I'm slipping or something. I got in that mindset. And actually, no, a lot of those places I was playing were, you know, like I might do a video of me just sitting there on a Saturday night, and I'll just play to some backing track and upload it. And maybe if a month later, 100 people have seen it, And who knows how many will see it years down the road. But I mean, if a month later 100 people have seen it, that's better than, you know, a lot of times last few years there'd be just, you know, maybe I'd be playing for, you know, maybe 25, 30 people drinking or something, which is fine. Nothing, you know, they're good people. But YouTube's pretty cool. Well, listen, I wasn't trying to knock the Sweetwater website, and it's possible that I'm on Reverb. It's possible that I didn't know how to find stuff. But then again, think about it from my perspective. I'm a consumer. I'm the customer. The customer's always right. So if I can't find something, even if I'm an idiot, which may well be the case, it's still their fault, because the customer is never an idiot. Just remember that. A lot of business, the customer is never an idiot. And he's never wrong, even if he's wrong and he is an idiot. And I've been both, but I'm still a customer. So, well, thank you. God bless you. Used guitar market at Guitar Center. Pretty impressive stuff, quite frankly. Thanks. And if this video turns out, I'll look for some more stuff where I can screen share like this. It's kind of cool. Thanks. God bless you.